Hey there, folks. Imagine pouring 7 years of your life into building something that protects our great nation's power grids, hospitals, and military bases, and then watching it all go dead silent the second your greedy boss tries to show it off to the Pentagon. A massive defense contract? Gone. His career? Done. And the best part? He had no clue I was the one who pulled the trigger from my truck in a parking lot. Stick around, because this story gets wild. If you love sweet revenge and seeing the little guy win big, hit that subscribe button real quick. It's free, and you won't miss the next tales like this. Let's jump in. My name's Ryan Carter, but everybody just calls me Ryan. I'm in my early 50s, a divorced dad with a teenage daughter who means the world to me, and I spent 20 years in Army intelligence before moving into cybersecurity here in Austin, Texas. What happened to me on one random Tuesday in early spring still feels like a movie, and I'm going to tell you every bit of it, slow and steady, like sharing stories around the dinner table after a long day. It started like any normal Tuesday morning in early spring. I rolled out of bed around dawn, threw on jeans and a plain black tee, and grabbed my usual large coffee from that little spot on South Congress. Traffic on I-35 was its usual mess, but I didn't mind. I was thinking about the big meeting ahead, talking with my boss about renewing our huge Pentagon contract and maybe adding some new features to the system I'd built from the ground up. I pulled my silver F-150 into the parking garage at Apex Cyber Solutions a little before the workday rush. The building looked the same as always, shiny glass towers downtown, with that Texas sun already warming things up. I rode the elevator to the top floor, nodding at a couple familiar faces. 7 years at this company, and I felt like I belonged. My office had pictures of my daughter Lily all over the desk, her kicking the winning goal at her last soccer tournament, us grinning at a concert downtown, stuff that kept me going through the long nights coding. The system I created? We called it Sentinel Core. It wasn't just software. It was the toughest cybersecurity shield the Department of Defense had ever used. It guarded power plants so the lights stayed on during storms, kept hospitals safe from ransomware creeps, and stopped foreign hackers from messing with our military networks. A deal worth more than most folks can imagine was on the line for the next phase. And I was the guy who made it all work. I walked into Marcus Harrington's corner office expecting a quick chat about upgrades. Instead, the air felt heavy, like a storm brewing on the horizon. Marcus was pacing, tie already loose, sweat stains showing under his fancy suit, even though the AC was blasting. No, morning, Ryan. No talk about the Longhorns like usual. Just a tight smile that didn't reach his eyes. Ryan, take a seat. We need to talk about streamlining things around here. My stomach dropped a little. I'd heard that tone before, back in the Army when brass decided to cut corners to save a buck. Marcus kept going. I've brought in some fresh talent to help modernize our image. Someone who gets the younger crowd, social media, all that. The door opened, and in walked his nephew, Dylan Harrington. In his mid-20s, messy hair, designer sneakers, holding his phone like it was glued to his hand. I knew him from the videos Lily showed me. Hundreds of thousands of followers watching him dance with energy drinks and talk crypto in front of Marcus's shiny new SUV. Uncle Mark said you're going to show me how everything works. Dylan said, already filming. This is going to be fire content. Behind the scenes at a real defense company? My followers are going to lose it. I blinked, waiting for the punchline. There wasn't one. Marcus leaned forward. Ryan, you'll train Dylan on Sentinel Core. Start today? The board loves his energy. We need to connect with a new generation. Connect with a new generation? This kid thought cybersecurity was just cool graphics and filters. Sentinel Core had dozens of layers of military-grade protection. One wrong move, and you could leave an entire city's power grid wide open. I wasn't about to hand that over so he could make dance videos. I'm slam prepping for the Pentagon demo this morning, I said, keeping my voice calm. Maybe someone from training can give him the basics first. Marcus's face hardened. This isn't optional, Ryan. The board wants results. Stock's been flat. We need to cut costs and look innovative. I felt the anger rising, hot and familiar. I'd seen good soldiers pushed out for cheaper replacements. I wasn't going to let that happen to the system keeping America safe. I'm sorry, Marcus. I won't do it. The room went dead quiet. Dylan kept filming, grinning like this was entertainment. You won't. Marcus repeated, voice low. I won't. This isn't a game. People's lives depend on Sentinel Core working perfectly. Marcus reached for his phone. Security to my office. Now. Dylan's eyes went wide, but he didn't stop recording. Ryan Carter. Marcus said, standing up, you're done here. Effective immediately. Security will escort you out. My heart pounded, but underneath it, relief. Because Marcus had no idea what he'd just triggered. Point two guards showed up, both vets, guys I'd grabbed lunch with before. They looked sorry as they walked me to my office. In the elevator, I kept my voice low. They're selling us out. Marcus has meetings with foreign buyers next week. Wants to license Sentinel to anyone with cash. One of them, a former Marine, shook his head. We'll take it slow, man. You good? I nodded. Just give me my full time to pack. Back in my office, I grabbed the important stuff fast. Lily's photos, my favorite coffee mug she painted that says, "Best Dad Ever," the little flag she made me in school. Everything else didn't matter, but the real prize was already in my pocket. A plain black USB drive. On it were the original patents, the licensing papers, and the master keys to Sentinel Core's deepest defenses. See, years ago, when my ex-wife Jenna was fighting cancer, the bills almost broke us. That's when I learned never to trust a company completely. I set up Carter Innovations with my mom as the owner. Every key piece of Sentinel Core belonged to that little family outfit, not Apex. Totally legal. My insurance policy. Dylan hovered in the doorway, still filming. Don't take any company stuff. Bro, Uncle Mark said people always try. I smiled. Everything I need is right here, I said, tapping my pocket. The walk to the garage felt slow, co-workers peeking out, some waving sadly. As soon as the elevator doors closed, I texted my small team. Storm's coming. Watch the demo close.my lead developer, Sarah Mitchell, texted back instantly. Ryan, what did you do? Nothing yet. But they're about to learn. I climbed into my F-150, fired up my laptop using my phone hotspot, and logged into Sentinel Core through a hidden back door I built years ago. The screen lit up. Welcome, System Architect. Level 15 ready. Level 15 was my masterpiece, a dead man's switch. If I ever got fired without proper handover, the whole system would lock itself down. No access. No demo. Nothing until ownership got sorted legally. I glanced at the clock, just after the morning rush. The Pentagon demo started soon. Marcus was about to stand in front of generals with a massive deal. And watch everything die. I hit the button. Countdown started. A couple hours to go. I pulled out of the garage, drove a few blocks down the road, and parked in the shade outside a busy grocery store lot. Perfect view of the Apex building in the distance. My laptop sat open on the passenger seat, timer ticking down. My phone buzzed. Lily between classes. Dad, people at school are talking about something weird at your work. You okay? I smiled and typed. Better than okay, kiddo. Daddy just stood up for what's right. Tell you all about it tonight. Love you more. Gotta run to class. That girl was my whole world. In her mid-teens, killer soccer player, straight A student. I was doing this for her future, for all our futures. As the minutes ticked by, I felt calm. No rage. Just justice. The timer wound down slowly, like watching a sunset stretch across the sky. Then it hit the final stretch. The exact moment the demo began, I pictured the scene upstairs. Big screens glowing, generals seated, Marcus smiling like he owned the world. Then the screens flashed red. Access denied. System lockdown. Complete digital silence. I closed my laptop, started my truck, and whispered to myself. That's what happens when you mess with the guy who actually built it. But that was just the beginning. Marcus was about to realize he'd lost everything. And I was only getting started. The moment those screens went black in the conference room, the silence hit harder than any explosion I ever heard in my army days. Up on the top floor, Marcus Harrington stood frozen at the head of the table, mouth half open like he'd forgotten how words work. The four-star general in the center seat, General Elena Vargas, a woman who'd stared down worse crises than this, slowly closed her folder. No yelling, just that quiet disappointment that cuts deeper than any shout. Marcus tried to recover. This is just a temporary glitch. We'll have it back online in minutes. General Vargas didn't even look at him. She stood, gathered her notes, and said in a voice calm enough to freeze fire. Mr. Harrington, when the United States government invests a fortune in a system, we expect it to be available when we ask to see it. Not locked behind some mystery protocol nobody in your company seems to understand. The other officers followed her out. Clean, disciplined, no backward glances. They left behind a room full of stunned executives, one very confused social media kid still holding his phone, and Marcus looking like someone had just yanked the rug out from under his entire life. Down in my truck, a few blocks away, my laptop showed the same message everyone else was seeing. Sentinel Core, protective mode active. All access revoked. For licensing inquiries, contact Carter Innovations. Authorized representative, Margaret Carter. My mom's name. The one thing Marcus never bothered to check when he signed the original licensing agreement years ago, that I let out a long breath I didn't realize I'd been holding. Then I started the truck and drove. Not far, just across the river to a little coffee shop on South First that's quiet in the middle of the day. I needed to think, and I needed to be somewhere nobody would look for me right away. My phone was already blowing up. First came the text from Sarah Mitchell, my lead developer who'd been in the back of the room during the demo. Sarah. Holy crap, Ryan. They're losing it up here. Marcus just screamed at Dylan to delete the live stream. Too late. It's everywhere. Sarah. Hashtag Apex fail is trending in Austin. Someone already made a meme of Marcus's face with the caption, "When you fire the guy who built the thing." I smiled for the first time since the early morning. Then came the call I knew was coming. Unknown number. I let it ring twice before I answered. Ryan Carter. A pause. Then Brad Larson, the new CTO they'd promoted right after they walked me out. His voice sounded like a man who'd aged a decade in a few hours. Ryan, man. We're in deep trouble here. The system's completely locked. None of us can even see the admin logs. What the hell is level 15? I leaned back against the headrest, watching the Colorado River sparkle in the early afternoon light. Level 15 is what happens when you build something for years and someone decides to hand it to a kid with a phone and a dream of going viral. Brad swallowed hard. I could hear it over the line. Look, the board's willing to talk. Full reinstatement. Back pay. We'll make you VP of engineering. Hell, we'll talk equity. Just come back and fix this. I let the silence stretch. Then I said, real quiet. You know what I told Marcus this morning? That Sentinel Core protects hospitals, power plants, military comms, lives, not quarterly reports, not someone's nephew's follower count. Brad didn't answer right away. I kept going. You stood there and watched him fire me. Didn't say a word. So no, Brad. I'm not coming back. Not today. Not tomorrow. Not ever. I hung up before he could reply. The next call came 10 minutes later. This one I recognized immediately. Michael Hayes, my lawyer. The same guy who set up Carter Innovations all those years ago when Genis treatments were bleeding us dry. Ryan. He said the second I picked up, you watching the news? Not yet. How bad? Bad for them. Good for you. Stock's already down a big chunk after trading started. Analysts are calling it the biggest self-inflicted wound in defense contracting since, well, ever. I laughed. Couldn't help it, Michael continued. I've got messages from Patricia Wells at Horizon Strategic Partners. She wants to meet. Today if possible. Says General Vargas called her personally after she left the building. Told her, and I quote, the only thing worth saving out of that circus is the technology itself, and the man who actually built it. I sat up straighter. Horizon Strategic Partners wasn't just another firm. They were the ones who funded half the serious defense tech breakthroughs in the last decade. Clean money. Smart money. People who actually cared about national security instead of quick flips. Where and when? I asked her office. Downtown. Later this afternoon. She's clearing her calendar. I checked the time. Just past midday. I'll be there. Before I left the coffee shop, I pulled up the social media feeds on my phone. Hashtag ApexFail was climbing fast. Clips from Dylan's live stream were everywhere. The moment the screens went red, Marcus's face going pale, General Vargas standing up and walking out. Someone had already turned it into a video sound with dramatic music, and right in the middle of it all, people were tagging me. Somehow my name had leaked already. Former Apex engineer Ryan Carter is the architect behind Sentinel Core. Sources say he was fired this morning and the system locked him out after termination. The internet moves fast when it smells blood. I turned off notifications, started the truck, and headed downtown. By late afternoon, I was sitting across from Patricia Wells in a glass-walled office overlooking Lady Bird Lake. She was in her late 50s, sharp eyes, no-nonsense haircut, the kind of woman who'd negotiated massive deals since before the internet existed. She didn't waste time. Ryan. I watched the feed. Saw the general walk out. Saw Marcus Harrington realize he'd just torched his own company in front of the people who signed the checks. She leaned forward. I also know Sentinel Core belongs to Carter Innovations, not Apex. Your legal structure is clean as hell. We've already had our team go over the filings. I nodded slowly. Patricia smiled, just a little. The kind of smile that says she's already 3 steps ahead. Here's the offer. We form a new company, Horizon Defense Technologies. You bring the IP from Carter Innovations. We bring the capital, a huge starting amount, more if we move fast. You run engineering and product. Full control. No uncles. No nephews. No social media stunts. She slid a folder across the table. Or, she said, you can fight Apex in court for years, watch them bleed out slowly, and maybe get paid out in stock that might be worth toilet paper by the time it's over. Your call. I opened the folder. Details. Timelines. Equity structure. My name at the top as founder and chief architect. That I looked up at her. How fast can we move? Patricia's smile got wider. Papers can be signed tomorrow morning. Announcement by end of week. We already have interest from other branches of the DoD who were quietly watching today's disaster. They want Sentinel Core. They just don't want it from Apex anymore. I closed the folder. Tell your team to get the paperwork ready. She stood up and extended her hand. Welcome to the future, Ryan. I shook it as I walked out of that building. The sun was dipping low over the lake, turning everything gold. My phone buzzed again. Lily, Dad? Everyone at school is talking about you. There's a video of your boss freaking out. Are you famous now? Faced with tears of joy, I laughed out loud, right there on the sidewalk. Not famous, sweetheart. Just finally free. But the day wasn't over yet. Marcus still had one last move left in him, and it was about to make everything a whole lot messier. The sun had just dipped behind the downtown skyline when my phone lit up with a number I hadn't seen in months. Marcus Harrington. I let it ring 3 times before I answered, pulling my truck off the highway onto a quiet side street near Zilker Park. The city lights were starting to flicker on, and the air smelled like barbecue smoke from the food trucks down by the river. Ryan. His voice came through tight, like someone squeezing a lemon through a straw. Marcus. A long pause. I could almost hear him pacing in whatever expensive room he was hiding in. I need to talk to you. Face to face. No lawyers. No recordings. Just you and me. I almost laughed. You fired me this morning, Marcus. Had security walk me out like I was stealing pens. Now you want a friendly chat. I know how it looked. I was under pressure. The board, they were breathing down my neck. Stock was tanking. I made a mistake. Understatement of the century. I stayed quiet, letting him fill the silence. He always hated silence. Look, he continued. We both know this lockdown thing is you're doing. You built the system. You know how to unlock it. I'm willing to make this right. Very right. I watched a jogger go by with their dog, completely oblivious to the conversation that could decide the fate of a massive defense contract. How right? I asked. A big payout. Cash. Wire transfer tonight. You come in tomorrow morning, hand over the keys. We announce you're back as lead architect. We save face with the Pentagon, the stock rebounds, and we all move on. A huge sum of money. For a second, just a second, the number hung there like a shiny lure. Then I thought about Lily's face when she showed me Dylan's videos. Thought about the hospital bills that almost broke us years ago. Thought about every late night I spent hardening Sentinel Core so some foreign actor couldn't flip a switch and leave millions in the dark. Marcus, I said slowly, you don't get it. This isn't about money anymore. You tried to sell out American security for a quick buck and a nephew with a phone. You don't get to buy your way out of that. His tone shifted, desperation turning sharp. You think you can just walk away with the whole system? We'll sue you into the ground. We'll tie you up in court for years. You'll be broke before Lily finishes college. That was the moment something cold settled in my chest. You threatened my daughter's name again, I said, voice low, and I'll make sure the world knows every single detail of your upcoming meetings with those overseas buyers next week. The ones you thought nobody knew about. Silence. Thick and ugly. How do you? I built the system, Marcus. I know where every backdoor is, including the ones you opened trying to shop Sentinel around. I heard him exhale hard. You wouldn't. Try me. I hung up. My hands were shaking a little when I set the phone down. Not from fear. From anger I'd kept locked up all day. I drove home. Lily was already there. Soccer practice had let out early. She met me at the door with wide eyes and her phone in hand. Dad, this is insane. There are like dozens of articles about you now. They're calling you the guy who single-handedly killed a defense giant in one morning. She showed me her screen. Headlines everywhere. Apex Cyber Solutions implodes after disastrous Pentagon demo. Fired engineer holds key to massive system. Nepotism fail. Social media star's uncle loses everything. I pulled her into a hug. She smelled like grass and sweat and teenage shampoo. You okay? She asked into my shoulder. Better than okay, kiddo. We're about to start something new. We ordered pizza, extra pepperoni, her favorite, and sat on the couch while she scrolled through the chaos online. Every few minutes she'd laugh and read something out loud. Someone made a fake job posting for Marcus. Wanted, CEO who can keep a straight face while everything burns. I laughed too. It felt good. Around late evening my phone buzzed again. Michael Hayes. Ryan, you sitting down? Always. Horizon just got word from General Vargas's office. They're not just interested. They're ready to fast-track a new contract. Direct to the new entity. They want nothing to do with Apex anymore. Paperwork's being expedited. We can announce by Friday. I closed my eyes for a second. That's huge. There's more. Patricia Wells wants to meet tomorrow morning at dawn. She's flying in 2 of her senior partners from DC. They're bringing term sheets. Big ones. I looked over at Lily, who was half asleep against my shoulder now. Pizza box empty between us. Tell her I'll be there. I carried Lily upstairs. She was too big for it now, but she still let me sometimes. Then went to my office. I pulled out the folder Patricia had given me earlier. Flipped through the pages. Saw my name listed as founder and chief architect. Saw the details: starting capital, equity split, roadmap. This wasn't just revenge anymore. This was a second chance to build something right. I was about to shut the laptop when another notification popped up. A new email. Subject: urgent. From Apex Legal. I opened it. It was a cease and desist letter. They were claiming breach of contract, theft of intellectual property, tortious interference. They demanded I immediately restore access to Sentinel Core or face immediate legal action. Attached was a photo: Dylan Harrington, looking smug, standing in front of my old office door. The caption in the email read, "We have evidence of you removing company property. Cooperate or we release this publicly." I stared at the photo, then I noticed something. The reflection in the glass door behind Dylan. My reflection. Clear as day, holding nothing but my coffee mug and a couple framed pictures of Lilied. No USB drive visible. No company laptop. Just personal stuff. They were bluffing. Hard. I forwarded the email straight to Michael with one line: "They're desperate. Let's end this tomorrow." I closed the laptop, turned off the lights, and stood at the window looking out over the sleeping city. Tomorrow morning, I'd walk into a new future, but Marcus still had one last card to play, and it was going to come from the one place I never expected. The next morning started before the sun even thought about rising. I was up at dawn, coffee brewing, laptop open on the kitchen table. Lily was still asleep upstairs. School didn't start until later, and I wanted her to have a normal day before the world flipped again. Early morning, I walked into the Horizon Strategic Partners office. Patricia Wells was already there with her two DC partners, both in crisp suits, both looking like they'd been awake since before sunrise. The conference table had fresh coffee, pastries, and thick stacks of documents. No small talk. Patricia slid the main folder toward me. "This is it. Horizon Defense Technologies. You own a big share outright. We take another big share. Some for the employee pool for your team. Sarah Mitchell gets first dibs if she wants in. Full operational control is yours. We handle the political side. You handle the tech." I flipped through. Clean. Fair. Better than anything Apex ever offered. One of the DC guys, tall, gray at the temples, voice like gravel, leaned in. "General Vargas called again last night. She's bypassing the normal channels. Wants a bridge contract signed by end of next week. Direct to us. They're done with Apex. Done with Harrington." I signed where the little sticky arrows pointed. My hand didn't shake this time. Mid-morning the paperwork was filed electronically. Horizon Defense Technologies existed. Legally. Officially. And Marcus Harrington's empire was officially on life support. I stepped outside into the crisp air, the last day of the year, with a chill in the wind, and my phone rang. Sarah Mitchell. "Ryan, you sitting down?" "Always." "They're folding. Apex's board just called an emergency meeting. Word is they're preparing a statement announcing the company is exploring strategic alternatives. Translation: they're shopping for a buyer. Or liquidation. Nobody wants the shell without Sentinel Core." I closed my eyes, letting it sink in. And Marcus? Gone. Resigned this morning. Effective immediately. Rumor is he's already on a plane to somewhere far away. Probably hoping some foreign buyer still wants to talk. I almost felt sorry for him. I thanked Sarah, told her I'd call her tomorrow to start building the new team, then headed home. Lily was in the kitchen making toast when I walked in. "Dad, you're back early. What's happening?" I sat her down, poured us both orange juice, and told her everything. The new company, the contract, the fact that we weren't going to be scraping by anymore, that her college fund was safe, that the work I'd done for years wasn't going to be sold off to the highest bidder. Her eyes got huge. Then she grinned so wide I thought her face might crack. "So, you basically won the internet and the Pentagon in one day?" I laughed. "Something like that." She hugged me so hard I couldn't breathe for a second. Around midday, the official press release hit. Apex Cyber Solutions announces leadership transition and strategic review. Former chief architect Ryan Carter launches Horizon Defense Technologies to continue protecting critical infrastructure. The internet went wild. Hashtag ApexFail was still trending, but now hashtag Ryan Carter and hashtag Horizon Defense were climbing fast. Memes of Marcus's sweating face next to pictures of me. Where did they even get those? With captions like, "When you fire the guy who holds the keys. Never mess with an army vet who codes." Lily spent the afternoon reading them out loud and cackling. At late afternoon, Michael Hayes called one last time. "Ryan, Apex's legal team just withdrew the cease and desist. Quietly. They know they have nothing. The photo Dylan took? Useless. The reflection shows you took nothing but personal items. They're done fighting." I thanked him, told him to send the final invoice, and hung up. The The sun was setting over the hills west of Austin, orange and pink and gold, the way Texas does it best on the last day of the year. That I stood on the back porch with a cold beer, watching the sky change colors. Lily came out and leaned against the railing next to me. So, what happens now, Dad? Now, I took a slow sip. Now we build something better, cleaner, stronger. No shortcuts, no nepotism, just good people protecting what matters. She nodded, quiet for a minute. Then she said, I'm proud of you. I looked at her, my teenage daughter who'd seen me through cancer scares, divorces, late-night coding marathons, and felt my throat get tight. I'm proud of you too, kiddo. Every single day. We watched the last light fade together. Somewhere in the distance, fireworks started popping early. People couldn't wait for midnight. That I raised my bottle toward the sky. To new beginnings. To standing your ground. To the quiet satisfaction of watching the truth win. And to the guy who thought he could fire the architect and keep the building. He was wrong. The building was always mine. Happy New Year. But wait, let me take you a bit deeper into how it all felt, because stories like this aren't just about the big moments. They're about the heart behind them. Back when I first started at Apex, I was fresh out of the Army, carrying the weight of 20 years serving our country. I'd seen friends come home changed, some not at all, and I poured that into Sentinel Core. It wasn't just code. It was a promise to keep folks safe, like the way my dad taught me to fix things right the first time on our old ranch outside Austin. He was a World War II vet, you know, the kind who didn't talk much but showed you what integrity meant by living it every day. When Marcus fired me, it stung like salt in a fresh cut, reminding me of those Army days when orders came down that didn't sit right with your conscience. But standing up? That felt like breathing clean air after a dust storm. And Lily, oh, she's the spitting image of her grandma, my mom Margaret, who held our family together through thick and thin. Naming the company after our family wasn't just smart. It was a nod to the values that built this nation. Hard work, loyalty, and doing what's right even when it's hard. The fireworks lit up the night sky that evening. I thought about all the folks like us, retired vets, grandparents watching over their families, everyday Americans who've seen enough to know when greed overtakes good sense. This story's for you. It's a reminder that sometimes the little guy with the big heart wins and justice rolls in like a Texas thunderstorm, clearing the air for something better. Thanks for riding this one out with me. If you enjoyed watching justice get served, smash that like, drop a comment with your favorite part, and subscribe if you want more stories like this. See you in the new year. Stay safe, stay real.